Lacey Everett here with the Minds in Motion dance series. Today's guest is Sammy Hurst, who is a professional dancer. She went from being a star in the competition dance world to dancing in college at Chapman University and double majoring, and now to a professional NBA dancer. Right now, you can pause this video and go and click subscribe to the Minds in Motion YouTube channel so I can make more of these videos for you. Sammy is going to share her journey through dance and the life lessons that she learned that she wishes she would have known, and she's going to share that with you. She's also going to share dance competition tips for all of you competition dancers out there, how to win a dance competition. Sammy also shares what makes a good dance performance, and she also talks about how to maintain a positive mindset. Let's go talk to Sammy. Hi, Sammy.
Hi.
I am so happy that you are here and that you get to share all of your knowledge with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor.
Of course. Oh, you are like an honor to the dance world. I was talking with you earlier, and it went from dance competition world star to dancing at college, which is really hard to get into and really hard to maintain. And then now a professional dancer for an NBA team. That's huge. Sammy, yeah, you've been through a journey that has probably instilled a lot of life lessons in you and such. I thought you could talk about that.
Yeah, totally. Well, I started dancing at the age of 2. So itty bitty. My mom put me in dance actually because she wanted me to have good posture. So she just put me in a combo class. And I instantly fell in love with it. I was obsessed with being in the spotlight. I would go around to people. I was 3 years old at the time, and I would be like, I want to dance on the big stage. Yeah, and then I started competition dance when I was 6. And then I continued with it. Senior year of high school, I started applying to colleges, and I didn't really want to leave California. So I applied to about 7 schools, and I got accepted to Chapman University, which is where I ended up going. And what kind of drew me there is that I could double major. So I was a dance major at Chapman, and then also I double majored in integrated educational studies. And then I graduated in 2019, and now I pursue a professional dance career in Los Angeles. So it's been 20 years now that I've been dancing and training. And it's interesting because growing up, I never thought I was going to pursue dance as a career. When I was younger, I wanted to be a doctor. And then when I was in college, I was I want to be a teacher. So I was actually in Chapman's accelerated master's program to get my master's in education. And then I was halfway through the program, and my senior year of college, I kind of had a quarter life crisis. I was like, oh my gosh, if I go through with this, next year I'm going to be student teaching at the school from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and then I have classes at night. I'm not going to be able to dance like I'm used to dancing. So kind of panicked. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never not had dance in my life. Called my parents, and I was talking to all my advisors at school, telling them just kind of how I was feeling. And they were like, if you want to dance, now's your time. You can always come back and get your master's, but your body is at its prime. You've been training your whole life. This is your dream. You have to go for it. Everyone kind of encouraged me, and I was so fortunate that my parents were so supportive of that.
That's really admirable, Sammy, that you sought out help from others. Okay, hey, this is what's going on with me. I need some clarity. And it also sounds like through all of your diverse experiences, it helps lead you to what you want to do. Okay, it might have taught you, okay, I don't like this, or I love this, but you wouldn't know unless you kind of immersed yourself in it. And that's a really good point too, because our bodies, are only so young to be able to dance. And your advisor telling you, school's not going out of business. There's going to be colleges till we're 100, and you can get your degree until you're 100. So you might as well do this while you can. That's really great advice.
Yeah, I think like what I learned throughout that my entire life experience, and something I'm still like continuing to learn, is that whatever path you're on, like at that time, is the right path. I think everything kind of happens for a reason, and some doors shut so like other doors can open. You just kind of have to trust the process. Like I never thought 5 years ago that I would be where I am today.
Wow, I really enjoy hearing that saying, Sammy, kind of like trust the process. And like you said, it's whatever's in the moment is your path. I feel like that's a lot of like mindfulness and a lot of living in the moment that went on with you. Like a lot of, okay, being in the present moment. Like right now, this is my path. So I'm going to do that. And the future is the future. I can worry about that later. It hasn't happened yet. So right now, this is my path, and this is where I'm naturally going. It sounds like nothing was really forced, and you really found your path by being in the moment with it.
Yeah, everything just kind of was like falling in my lap, falling into place. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Like, this is how I feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose, which is really cool.
I wanted to ask, what makes a good dance performance? Because you're the guru at that.
Okay, this is just my perspective. Of course, everyone's going to have a different opinion. When a dancer is fully invested in the routine or choreography that they're doing, not only is dance a kind of sport, but it's also an art form. And I think the goal of a dancer should be for them to leave an impact or some sort of feeling left with the audience. Growing up as a competition dancer, I think it took me a really long time to figure that out. I'm like such a perfectionist, and I would like get so stressed out about like nailing my turns and like making sure I'm stretched, and like, oh, like I hopped, and then I would like beat myself up about it. But like in the grand scheme of things, like that's not what's important in a performance. So I think when you like focus so much on that, it takes away from like the performance itself and like the emotions and feelings that are supposed to be portrayed to the audience. So I think when you pair that great technique with the passion behind the movement and what you're doing, that's when you kind of create something really magical.
Oh, yes. That is great advice, Sammy. So true. It's like when you're watching a performance on stage and you feel something and they make you feel, that's when the chills happen. That's when they go, oh, that was a good performance.
Right. Yeah. I mean, as impressive as like all of those tricks can be, that's not like what the audience really remembers,
Also, do you have any tips for dance competition teams, people in dance competition, how to win a dance competition? Because you're very good at that.
Kind of like going off what I was saying before, like, I don't think that the goal of a competition dancer should ever be to win or to score a certain amount of points. I think, in my opinion, a successful performance is kind of when you do get lost in that piece or choreography that you're doing and you leave everything that you have on the floor. And I think when you do that, that's when you do score the highest, when you win. And like I was saying before, that's when the judges or the audience is going to connect with what you are doing on stage. Like 10 pirouettes or getting your leg like behind your head, like that'll only get you so far. But you need that personality and that vulnerability when you're on stage. And as I was saying, like it did take me like a while to kind of understand that. just because I did spend so much time training and like had to be perfect, which is also amazing. It's such a great life skill, not even just in dance, but in life. Like I'm just like such an overachiever because of dance, and like that also like brings you so much success in its own.
Interesting how our sports or dance teach us life lessons. We can translate that to life. Like, for example, I'm sure in school, you do all of your assignments on time and you do the extra credit because of how dance kind of teaches you to do that.
Exactly. Time management, like all of the things.
And two, it also sounds like a big part for you is, which is so important, getting rid of that little perfectionistic bug in our ear when we're in dance competitions or whatever it may be, auditions, and just going for it with your soul and just dancing with your heart and not being afraid to be vulnerable and show emotion. How did you get over that? What are tips that you have that get you to perform with your body and your soul and your face rather than just the kicks and the turns?
Older, when I like finally started to realize that, like it was probably my junior or senior year of high school that I like finally like put that, like broke down that wall. And I remember this like specific performance. A friend of mine was like really sick and she was like unable to dance, and I just like felt so bad for her, and I was doing my solo and I dedicated my dance to her. And it was like I had never danced like that before, or I don't know, felt that way on stage. It kind of opened doors for me because I realized that there was so much more than just like being perfect. And yeah, that was like I scored the best I ever did, and it felt the best I've ever danced. And I think it was because of like the heart behind it.
Yeah, which makes sense too, because I feel like if dancers portray that heart behind their dancing and that confidence and that vulnerability, people can feel that. The judges, when they're watching you, they can feel that. Power of vulnerability really speaks true to you, it seems like, and that is very important. And you dedicating a dance to one of your dear friends who was sick made it more real for you, maybe. So maybe dancers could take that as maybe picking a story that relates to you about the song you're dancing to or the movements you're feeling, and making it more personalized to them. So then maybe it'll help their performance.
Totally. Yeah. And I think that's something like I kind of learned along the way as well. And the older you get, the more life experiences you have that you can kind of relate and connect to maybe that storyline, that theme of your dance. So I think it does get easier as you get older. But yeah, I sometimes, like I tell my students, because I teach dance, I'm like, if they're doing a lyrical dance about like someone they love, they're losing someone they love, like, I mean, like a 7-year-old's not in love, but I'm like, think about your mom or maybe your dog. Like it could be anything. It doesn't have to be, it could be candy. Like think about losing candy. And it's like easier for them then to like relate and like find that passion and emotions behind it.
Yes, that's a good point. Kind of cater it to you, how it works for you, because we're all different. We're all different ages, different life experiences. So that makes sense. How to maintain a positive mindset. Sammy, teach us your ways, because you've had to conquer a lot through dance.
Yeah, I think for me, the best way to maintain the right mindset is to never compare yourself to others. I think the only person you can really compare yourself to is the person you were the day before. There is literally no one in the world who is just like you. And I think that in itself is like such a strength. And like even just us two, like my strengths might be your weaknesses and vice versa. And I think it kind of took me a while to realize that, especially growing up in such a competitive like environment as a competition dancer. You're like always judged next to these other dancers. And it could be like, especially like as a young like person, it can be really, I don't know, hard to always be compared and like they're really good at this and how come you're not pointing your toes like that. So I think it's really important that competition stays healthy, because it can, if not, it can cause a lot of anxiety or stress or even jealousy. And competition is meant to encourage us to work harder and like push beyond what our perceived limits may be, and to just strive to be the best version of ourselves. So I think keeping that mindset is like just so important, like always trying to be the best version of yourself, not someone else's.
Woo! That was wonderful to hear. That is so true. And I'm so happy that you brought that up.
So just using, maybe someone has a strength that might be one of your weaknesses, rather than comparing or getting down on yourself, instead use that as inspiration to better yourself.
Just going at it with like an encouragement standpoint and kind of
Exactly.
Compassion too, and just, okay, they're great at that. Good for them. That is awesome. Let's work on my stuff. But I still love them and adore them. They're still my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wonderful advice, Sammy. Truly. This was really helpful.
I'm so glad.
Thank you so much for giving all of your advice. You are the guru of this stuff. So I'm grateful. And I know a lot of other people who are going to be so grateful for hearing this.
Happy to help. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Bye, Sammy.
Bye.